Hello again, everyone. I'm often asked where I get my inspiration from, and I've often said absolutely anywhere. I really just don't know where my inspiration comes from. I just simply see something and think, oh, I could do something with that. So I want to start from where this piece of work came from. You may see that there's this absolutely beautiful ribbon here. And I thought, as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, that's going to look fabulous on a card. But I'll show you where it came from. Got a photograph here on my iPad. Here is the photograph. I hope you can see that. I think you can. This absolutely, well, incredible floral arrangement arrived when we got back from our long weekend away. And this is a gift for my birthday from Steve at Craft Addiction UK. I was kind of overwhelmed, really, but how kind. It's an appreciation, I think, for some of the ideas that we've been sharing for new dyes and things like this. And I just love the success that he's been having. But the generosity is, you know, from his part is wonderful. The fact that he gives free shipping in this country and very reasonable shipping worldwide is wonderful. But just look at these beautiful flowers. If you just look here, this bow, this ribbon, was around this arrangement. It was all beautifully arranged, and in there, it's just full of water. It's like a paper vase, really, but absolutely beautiful. So they're gracing my dining room at the moment. So that's where it came from. I've waffled on a bit, but I thought I would like to do a card from that inspiration. So I thought, if I'm going to do a card that inspiration, I've got to have a flower. Now I've got a flower here. I don't know where this came from. I think it was one of the ones that I was sent, and I kind of lose track. But it's just a little layered one. It's similar to the sort of thing that Alexandra Renker does, but I don't think this is one of her dyes. So what I have a fancy for is this. A strip of this beautiful ribbon as a backdrop, maybe a flower just on there. It's going to be that way around, isn't it? It can lean in this way. A flower on there and maybe a simple sentiment. And kind of that's going to be it. But what I thought I would use for the die cut of the flower was this. Now this is part of another print from Pingwing. You know, I used the blue one for butterflies, this one that was left over. But this is another watercolour background from Pingwing. There are various in this vein. And so I thought I would cut this from that and then do a little bit of titivation with a couple of inks as well, maybe. And maybe colour the stem with some markers or whatever. But as I've said many times with solid dies like this, if you're going to cut it from some patterned paper, you do this, you know, and you kind of hope, but you can't actually see what is underneath the die. So I use what I call a window, and I've lost it. What have I done with my window? Here it is. Oh my goodness. This is the window that I cut with this. I've kept the pieces together so I know which bit goes with which flower. And what I can do is put this onto my paper, because I was thinking if I could get it somewhere where the stem is going through the bit of white and the petals are somewhere where there's pink, that's a pretty good start. So I was looking, and just moving this around to see where I thought, that's quite a nice one there. This is not bad here. What do we think? That one even has got a bit of yellow just there, a little bit of yellow in what will be the middle, which is really quite appropriate. These flowers have all got a bit of pink in the middle, sorry, a bit of yellow in the middle. So that looks like it might be a good place to place my die. So let's, because that one is get that a bit more central. I think that is going to be covered up by this bit actually, but that's neither here nor there. So let's pop this into here. I should have done this probably on my mat, but I'll slip the mat underneath. Okay, and then we'll cut this out. I just cut through the copy paper. What I did also, while this is on the table, is I'm going to enhance this die cut with a little distress ink. And what I did was take my piece of printed paper to my chart just to see what colours kind of go. And I thought spun sugar and saltwater taffy, maybe tattered rose as well. That's a thought, isn't it? But I don't think I've got any of that in this. Let's look. Let's just have a see. There's some petals. I love the randomness when you get, you know, one of these things it's got a mix of colours. I really love how it, you know, shows the different colours. There's that. And still in here, the little bit for the centre of the flower. Now, that one hasn't got a hole in, so I'll just push sideways with my pokey tool. There we go. Oh, must have had a bit of paper in as well. This is the bit. There we go. That's the centre of the flower. Okay, let's pop this away for a little minute. That one, you know, I might use it again. I may just cut another piece of copy paper. It doesn't much matter. So just pop the die away. There isn't any of the tattered rose in that, is there? Not really. Okay, let's just pop that away as well. So there's my 5x7 card plus a panel. So I want a bit of this to go onto here. So how do we want it to go? I think I'll just do a strip, really. And then the question is, how on earth do I attach this to the card? Just do it like that. Okay, I think I'm going to try with this. I think I'll try Natalie's method with the glue and the dabber. This is just Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive. Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive. I must show you this actually. This is from my friend Sonia. Look, a little pot with a puffin on. She knows I love puffins. And she bought it. Perfect for putting stuff in like that. So let me, I'm digressing. Let me just see if we can get this ribbon stuck on. It's going to pose a little bit of a problem, but we'll see. If I do this way, then it's going to go down. Okay. Get some of this on the tips of my brush bristles. I think I need just a little bit more. Let's try this and see. I think I've got enough. Take care of the ends and the middle perhaps look after itself. Okay, here's my panel. about in the sort of the third sort of area. I'll leave that for a bit and just see how it goes. Looks like it might have worked. Okay, now let me just do some additional colouring onto these flowers. Right, let's just do a bit of colouring, additional colouring to this flower. The stems, I think we'll use a marker. So I've got a couple of greens that are sort of favourite with me. This one is, it's called beige green, G240. So let's just do a bit of this. Okay, and the lighter one, I think we'll have 220. Quite sympathetic sort of colours, these two. And the pink that's underneath there just simply adds to, you know, a bit more shading, a bit more colour. Just wondering whether to cut a white one to put beneath this. I think I may. There we go. That feels better. Just a bit more robust. Okay. Just need to carry on doing a bit more colouring down the side there now to make sure that the layer underneath has got a bit of colour in there too. So here's the paler one. Let's just go down here. Okay. Just moving them can make them slip. Right. Next, I think I'm going to work on the flower tops. That's lovely. As is this. So let's put a little bit of this on this lighter left-hand side. And a bit of this. There we go. This one's going to be all darker, I think. I think I'd like something a little bit deeper, just in the centre. I have got some tiny brushes. These ones are really small. And I think that's clean. I don't know. Oh, no, it's not. That's better. These ones you can just dab a bit of colour in. So let's just see. Abandoned coral. Quite nice. Okay. Where's my, this is my, that's my middle. Oh, no, it's not. That's the paper one. Where's the real one? Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's fossilised amber, I think. Yeah, that'll do. And the bit of pink that's on there is just giving it a bit of depth. Excellent. Excellent. Right, these need a bit of shape. They also need a bit of twinkle. I think I want something right around the very edge of that. Okay. And this bit. I love messing about with ink like this. I think you can get some fabulous effects because it's not, you're not sort of, you know, painting it. It's just kind of where it lands. And often that is brilliant. Okay, let's have a look. That's nice. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of, I'll put my shimmer on next. This will move some of the ink around as well because this is water-based and they are water-soluble. So some of these edges will be going slightly into each other, which will be great. Doesn't look like there's much on there, but the yellow came off. Right, we'll just do the leaves as well. And the stalk. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Now we'll do the bit of shaping. Pick it up. Where's my picker? Oh, there it is. Thought I'd lost my picker-upper tool. Here it is. Pop that there. Pop that there. And we'll do a bit of shaping. Some of the colour's still coming off onto the mat. I can always wipe that later. Let's have a look. Good. Which way up does this look best? Oh, perhaps that way. Okay. Just want something, I think I'm going to use this brush corduroy just for a little, just a little darkening around that bit. Right, let's stick these together. I don't know which the best way to put this is actually. I think that looks awful. Let me put some pearls on. Don't care for that whatsoever. Let's try some pearls. Right, let me just find a space and see what we're doing here. Right, foam tape under there, under here, glue on there. Let's do that. Right, I think I'll put a glue dot there because I want to pull this to the surface when these be raised slightly. Put this right in the centre. There. Okay. And that's coming off now. Let's put some more glue on there. Bit of a pig's breakfast, this one. Let's just take this on. Oh, I didn't put any glue on this. Dear me. I could put some tiny bits of foam tape just under there, just to keep those raised a little bit. Let me just see if I can do that. Where's the end? Let's just cut up a tiny little sliver. Take off both sides. Put that in there. A bit on the other side. Again, take off both sides of the backing. Well, one side comes off when you take it off, of course, doesn't it? Bit silly, really, but there you go. That's right. That's what was right in there. Like that. Okay, then we have some permanent lift. Right. I did that with butterflies' wings quite often too. If I've got double sets of butterflies' wings, I'll just pop a little bit of foam tape underneath the top one, and it gives them that total lift. Now, all I need to do is to have, I took that off too soon, all I need to do is to have a sentiment. So whether I go, I think I might go with a stamped sentiment this time on a little tag of some description. So I'll have a look and see what I can find, and I will be back. I dug out a few sentiments. I got this set. This is a penny black, very old set. It was called Gratitude or something. I've scribbled on in Sharpie to say what it is. I do wish that companies would, while they're printing on what is on the actual stamps, it would be so easy to print the name of the company and you know, whatever reference this particular set is, you know, on the same carrier sheet. I don't know why they just don't do it. Some do, I have to say. Simon Says Stamp does, but and Altenew and Mama Elephant and a few others. But I wish everybody would. I think it was so much easier to let people know what you're using. Anyway, I looked at this thank you, this stamp here, and I thought, that might look quite nice sort of there, but I can't stamp over the ribbon. So I just stamped onto a piece of copy paper and cut out with an oval just to see what it would look like. And I think it's too big. So I thought, no, I'm not doing that. That's that one out of the way. Then I thought perhaps I'll just use a little thanks, cut it from a little piece of, you know, scrap of the download sheet that I printed and give it a little, you know, shadow, window, whatever you call them. So that's what I'm going to do. And I may have to add a little bit of colour to this just to give it, you know, a bit more definition. So we'll see. Let's just cut these two out. We'll see what it looks like as it is and see if it needs just a bit more. Yes, I think it needs to be a bit deeper to go with the flower. So let's just get a bit more colour onto this. There's that. Let's use a little bit of the abandoned coral. Just a little bit. I'm just wondering if I should have used some gilding wax somewhere along the line. I have the feel. Whoopsie-daisy. That's a bit better, isn't it? Let's put some twinkle onto that. So it's the same finish as the flower itself. There we go. And we'll stick that onto its shadow. I tend to just put this brush into a pot of water, then it, you know, the glue doesn't stick and set. So it's always kind of handy. Right, we'll pop a little bit of this onto the mat. Turn this over and add some dots of glue on the back. Excellent. Okay, stick this on. There. So here at last is my finished card. I'm fairly happy with it now. It had its moments, but I've just got to stick this down, and I'm wondering. I think I'm going to have to stick it flat to the card because there's a fair amount of thickness there, and if I put that onto foam tape, it'll make it expensive to send through the mail. So I think it's going to be put onto directly onto the card base. So thank you so much for watching. If you could just check and make sure you are still subscribed. Some people in the comments just tell me, yes, I am still subscribed, or I had to resubscribe or whatever. It does help me to know kind of what's going on with YouTube. And every time you do a thumbs up, it makes a huge difference. And I look sometimes to see the number of people who watch who are subscribed compared to those that aren't. And often it's about 30% of people who watch regularly haven't subscribed. And that subscription and those thumbs ups make a huge difference to creators. So if you could just do that, it would be wonderful. So as ever, thanks for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.